The Witch Hunter Files by Samantha Endora Prologue, the final recording. The file was time-stamped 3:13 a.m., July 4th, 2018. No sender, no metadata, just a compressed audio clip buried in the inbox of an old investigative podcast account. Ella Finch might never have opened it if she hadn't been drunk, alone, and aimlessly scrolling through her abandoned tips folder. The file was named witchhunter001.wave. This is my last entry. If you're hearing this, I'm already gone, not dead, worse, consumed. They told me not to record. That sound carries traces. But you need to know. You need to understand what I unleashed in Wapping. The white-eyed nun wasn't the beginning. She was a key, and I turned it. They found me in the chapel ruins beneath Clerkenwell, marked me, bound me to the silence. I can feel her inside me now, watching. Don't listen to the next file. Delete them. Bury them. Burn me if you must. Just don't listen. You played the tape. That's how it starts. Ella Finch closed the file, heart racing, nausea creeping into her throat. At first, she thought it was a prank, a viral stunt, some Blair Witch knockoff fishing for clicks. But then she checked the timestamp again. 3:13 a.m., July 4th, 2018. The same hour Vincent Harrow had vanished from police custody. The same hour the Clerkenwell substation experienced an unexplained blackout. The same hour the missing persons hotline received 7 anonymous calls, all with dead air. And now this file had landed in her inbox, unrequested, untraceable. 3 hours later, unable to sleep, she uploaded the recording to her dormant podcast feed. No intro, no context, just the file. She told herself it didn't matter. No one was listening anymore. But someone was, because 13 minutes after she hit publish, a comment appeared beneath the post. File 1 received. Next. That was when the voices started. Not on the tape, in her flat, just beneath the floorboards. The Witch Hunter Files had begun. Chapter 1. The USB Ella Finch didn't believe in ghosts. She believed in burnout, caffeine withdrawal, and the slow rot of freelance journalism. She believed in media fatigue and viral hoaxes. But not ghosts, not witches, not Vincent Harrow. At least not until the USB drive. The morning after she uploaded the strange file, she found a padded envelope in her letterbox. No return address, just her name printed neatly on a blank label. Not emailed, not posted, hand-delivered. Inside, a rust-red USB stick, a cheap plastic model, scratched and slightly warm, as if it had just come from a pocket. "You've got to be kidding me," she muttered, turning the stick over in her palm. No markings, no branding. Just one word etched into the plastic with what looked like a heated pin. Which she plugged it into her battered laptop. No autorun, no obvious virus behavior, just one folder. Files. Inside, 10 audio clips, numbered, unnamed. The first one, she already recognized. witchhunter001.wave, the file she'd received by email the night before. But the rest? New. Silent. Waiting. Is this a submission? An art piece? A threat? She wondered aloud. But she was already dragging File 2 into her audio editor. Ella had spent years producing podcasts that chased ghosts in the machine, true crime with a twist of urban legend. She'd interviewed flat earthers, cult defectors, and even one guy who swore pigeons were government drones. But this felt different. This wasn't performance. It was raw. Inside the folder, she found something else, a text file. It was titled "Read Me Last." I'll read it now, thanks. The document was just one sentence long. If you're reading this, it's already too late. Keep listening. Okay, she muttered. So we're doing the haunted USB trope. Great. But there was something else, beneath her sarcasm. Something buried in her gut she didn't want to name yet. Fear. Recognition. The faint, dreadful hum of familiarity. Because years ago, back when Vincent Harrow still gave interviews, Ella had edited one of his final podcast appearances. A rambling, unhinged monologue about frequency thresholds and psychic resonance. She'd dismissed it, deleted most of it, but one line had stuck in her head. Truth isn't what you hear, it's what answers back when you listen. She didn't remember keeping that file, but it was on her desktop now, time-stamped yesterday. What the hell is going on? Ella Finch didn't believe in ghosts, but ghosts didn't care. They believed in her. Chapter 2. The White-Eyed Nun. Fog clung to the Thames like it didn't want to let go. Vincent Harrow's voice echoed through Ella's headphones as she sat in her apartment at 1:04 a.m., curtains drawn tight, every light off except her laptop screen. She hadn't intended to keep listening, but something about File 2 felt different. It wasn't just a ghost story, it was a record, an account, and it began with a place, Wapping. Case file number 2, subject the White-Eyed Nun of Wapping, recorded March 3, 2017. Ella sat forward. She knew the legend. Everyone did. A nun, drowned in the Thames during a witch trial in 1666, supposedly seen wandering the docklands on foggy nights, her eyes glowing white as bone. Tourists took ghost tours. Teenagers dared each other to go looking. But Vincent's voice didn't sound theatrical. It sounded tired and afraid. I arrived just after midnight. Fog dense, air still. Locals had marked the warehouse, more symbols. Same pattern. Alchemical, protective, or summoning. Ella paused the playback and ran a quick search. A week before the recording date, a man had gone missing in Wapping. No foul play suspected, just gone. Like the mist swallowed him, she resumed the file. I stepped inside. Immediate temperature drop. Symbols drawn in something chalky, white, granular. Salt. Protection lines disrupted near the rear wall. Possible breach. The audio hissed slightly, as if the recorder was struggling to keep up. First appearance, 1:17 a.m. She manifested in the corner, not walking, floating. Robes wet, hands extended, eyes blank, white as stone-washed bone. She spoke, not in words, in impressions, sorrow, warning, hunger, and then she pointed toward the wall, toward me. Ella felt a chill on her arms. The file cut to static briefly, and when Vincent's voice returned, it was panicked. She knew my name. I didn't say it. I didn't say a word. Pulled back, out of the structure, symbols glowed as I crossed them. Not residual, responsive, like the building was alive. Ella froze. She hadn't touched her keyboard, but the playback bar skipped backward 3 seconds and replayed the line. She knew my name. The mouse moved slightly, on its own. Ella jerked her hand away, heart pounding. No, this is just sleep deprivation, it's a glitch. No one should have been there. It was past 1 a.m., no deliveries, no neighbors awake on her floor. And yet, she rose, heart thudding, and stepped slowly to the peephole. Nothing. Just the hallway. Empty. Screw this, she muttered, locking the door again and returning to her desk. But the screen had gone dark. Her editing program had closed itself, and a new file had appeared in the folder. Witch Hunter 03.way. It was dated for tomorrow. Chapter 3, The Broadcast. Ella didn't sleep that night. She tried. She drank water. She turned her phone face down. She shut the laptop. But every time her eyes closed, she saw those glowing symbols, salt-white circles, scrawled in silence. At 4:42 a.m., she gave up and reopened the file. Witch Hunter War 3.wave didn't start with Vincent. It started with radio static. What the hell is this? AM spillover. Then Vincent's voice, mid-sentence. Not meant to be decoded. This frequency is one of the last true thresholds. The silence between 1623 and 1628 kilohertz is intentional. It's a prison. Don't broadcast there. Ella stared at the waveform. No timestamps, no metadata, but something pulsed in the audio like a second track underneath. She isolated it, boosted the signal. A pattern emerged. 3 tones. Pause. 3 tones. Pause. Then 5. She blinked. SOS, but backwards. It's calling for help, in reverse? It was a direct message, from someone she hadn't spoken to in over a year. Jake McAllister, former sound engineer, ex-boyfriend, conspiracy junkie. Are you hearing it too? Meet me. 11 a.m. Smithfield, bring the files. She hadn't told anyone about the files. Not publicly, not even in metadata. She hadn't posted about them at all. And still, he knew. Smithfield was cold and grey under a slate sky, the kind of London day that felt filtered through wet wool. Jake looked older, gaunter, paler. His eyes carried the jittery tension of someone who hadn't stopped scanning shadows in weeks. You should have ignored it, Ella. Once you play the first one, it starts watching. Good morning to you too. Let me see it. The USB. She hesitated, then slid it across the table. He didn't plug it in, just stared at it, mouth thin. Same model as mine, same etching, same timing. You got one too? 6 months ago. I listened to 5. I deleted the rest. Didn't matter. It kept playing. You're serious? I started broadcasting parts of it online. Pirate stream. Late night. No one cared. Until one night someone answered. He pulled out his phone and showed her a grainy recording. A room. Empty. Crackling audio. Vincent's voice mid-sentence. Then something moved, just outside the lens. A shadow. A figure. Too fast to see clearly. There was no one there. I was alone. You're going to keep listening, aren't you? Yeah, I have to. Then don't listen alone. And whatever happens, don't play file 6. Ella left Smithfield with more questions than answers and a growing weight in her chest. When she got home, the USB wasn't in her coat pocket anymore. It was already plugged into her laptop, and File 4 was highlighted. Chapter 4. The Graveyard Map. The USB was plugged in when she returned. She hadn't done it, and she lived alone. Ella didn't scream, didn't panic. She simply sat down, reached for her recorder, and hit record. Day 3. File 4 loaded itself. I didn't insert the USB. No signs of forced entry. Either I'm sleepwalking, or something's doing it for me. She played the file. Case file number 4. Subject, graveyard map, location, Clerkenwell. I followed a series of symbols carved into headstones in the old paupers' cemetery. The markings form a sequence, a pattern only visible from above. Ella opened Google Earth, Clerkenwell, zooming in on the burial ground behind the old debtors' prison. There it was, 7 headstones in a circular pattern, connected by faint footpaths, a rough sigil. She cross-referenced the cemetery's burial records. 3 of the names matched those of women executed during the 1692 witch panic. Burned. Their graves unmarked, but not forgotten. It's not just storytelling, it's mapped, documented. She jolted. The printer on her shelf had activated, spitting out a page she hadn't queued. She stepped forward. On the sheet, a crudely photocopied map. Clerkenwell, a red X, handwritten in the corner, follow the line, midnight, alone. Okay, no more coffee, no more late-night audio archaeology. This is ridiculous. But I'm going anyway. At 11:53 p.m., Ella stepped through the rusted gates of Clerkenwell Graveyard. Her recorder was clipped to her coat. I'm here. Map said to walk the perimeter in a spiral. Every 5 stones, stop and mark. She counted, walked, counted again. Then she stopped. Stone 7. A fresh flower lay on top, still wet with dew. This grave's from 1692. Who's leaving flowers? Ella turned. A man stood at the edge of the cemetery, middle-aged, overcoat, familiar silhouette. Vincent? But he didn't respond. He raised one hand and pointed toward the base of the old oak tree. I don't think this is wise. She moved anyway. At the base of the tree, nestled between roots, was a box, wooden, old, unlocked. Inside, photographs, black and white, dozens of them, all of women, bound, afraid, and in every photo in the background, the white-eyed nun. These are real. Vincent? But he was gone. Only the tree remained, and the fog and the cold. Distinct sound of someone breathing just over her shoulder. She didn't look back. She ran. She didn't remember unlocking her door. Didn't remember the cab home. But the next morning, the box was on her kitchen table. Next to it, the USB. And File 5. Chapter 5. The Frequencies. Ella hadn't uploaded the last episode. She was sure of it. She'd passed out on the sofa, fully clothed, the Clerkenwell box still sealed on the table. But when she checked her podcast feed that morning, File 4 was live, with her voice. An intro she never recorded. Tonight we follow the map. The graveyard breathes. Listen carefully. The dead remember. I didn't say that. I didn't say any of that. She grabbed the USB and launched File 5. Case file number 5. The Frequencies. This entry may cause side effects. Nausea, dissociation, waking dreams. You've been warned. The file opened with layered tones, inhumanly smooth. Like a whale song stretched across metal. Then came the voice. Not Vincent's, not hers, something between. Time loops where silence is fed. You listened, you opened the door. Nope, no, we're done. Except the audio kept playing. She unplugged the USB, closed the editor. The tones continued, now from her phone. Then her radio, then her TV, even though it was unplugged. Then it stopped, complete silence. For 5 minutes, Ella heard nothing at all. Not the city outside, not her own breath. Just absence. I can't hear. And just like that, it was back. The hum of the fridge, sirens in the distance, her ragged breathing. But on her phone, a new image had appeared. A screenshot from the audio file. A sonogram-like signature with marked peaks. She'd seen this pattern before, in an old Harrow interview transcript she once edited but never aired. She dug through her archives, found the page. Harrow had described it as the harmonic key. It's not sound, it's invitation. A shape the brain recognizes, a key to something older. The phrase repeated in her mind, a key to something older. Her vision blurred. Static danced on the edges of her eyes, her hands trembled. She dropped the USB. It hit the floor and split open. Inside was something no USB should contain. Not a chip, a tooth. Small, human, yellowing. What the A new voicemail. Unknown number. She pressed play. Ella, don't listen to File 6, please. They're inside it. That frequency isn't human. On her screen, File 6 was already open and already playing. Chapter 6. The Archivist. Ella didn't remember leaving her flat. 1 minute she was staring at File 6 autoplaying. The next, she was on the circle line, shivering, coat half-zipped, the USB in her pocket like a live coal. She hadn't packed a bag, hadn't brought her phone. Just a single post-it note in her hand, scrawled in unfamiliar handwriting. Waterloo, 1:17 p.m, coffee kiosk, ask for archivist. She didn't remember writing it, but her legs carried her up the escalator, past the commuters, until she spotted the kiosk wedged between two shuttered souvenir stalls. A man stood at the counter, pale skin, hoodie drawn tight, speaking softly to the barista. He turned before she said anything. "You're late." "Do I know you?" "No, but I know you. You've uploaded 4 files, accessed 5, listened to 6. How do you? You've seen the harmonic patterns, you've heard the tones, you've felt the bleed. Come, somewhere private." They stepped through an unmarked service door and down into a side-access tunnel beneath the station. Old brick, damp air, faint smell of oil and stone, a forgotten part of London's underbelly. Exactly where Vincent Harrow would have gone. What are these files? Seeds. Buried truths. He recorded them to delay it, not to expose it. Delay what? The ritual. The convergence. The files aren't warnings. They're containment. Each one a lock. You've broken 6. Ella laughed, just once, but it didn't sound like her. "I thought this was an ARG, a hoax, maybe trauma processing. But if this is real, why me?" "You uploaded the first one. I didn't mean to." "No one ever does." He handed her a small envelope. Inside, a Polaroid photo, blackened edges, a figure crouched in a field of ash, Vincent Harrow, blood running from his ears. On the back, a symbol, same sigil from Clerkenwell, same pattern as the frequency peaks. "What is this? Final location, final key. You're already being followed. Once all 10 files are unlocked, it doesn't need a host." "Why would I keep going?" "Because you're curious, because something inside you already wants to finish it." As they exited into the fading daylight, the archivist handed her one last thing. A burner phone. It buzzed in her palm. One new message. No words. Just coordinates. And the file name, witchhunter007.wave, Chapter 7. The 7th tone. The coordinates pointed to a village that didn't appear on any map. Oakmere Hollow. Population unknown. No phone signal. One pub. No inn. Real horror movie energy. She rented a car with cash and followed the directions provided by the burner phone's cracked GPS, until it too died. Power drained. Blank screen. She drove the rest of the way by memory, or instinct. The road narrowed into cracked tarmac, then gravel, then dirt. Fog rolled in around her tires like something inhaling. At the village outskirts, a crooked sign read, "Welcome to Oakmere Hollow. Silence preserved since 1692. Ella parked beside an abandoned chapel. The door opened on its own. Inside, rows of broken pews, a stone altar, and a cassette recorder. Cassette. Not USB, not digital, old school, deliberate. A note sat beside it. "Play me." Case file number 7. Subject, the 7th tone. This entry cannot be undone. They said it was just a frequency, a resonant tone discovered in post-Reformation liturgies. A side effect, but it's not. It's older than prayer, older than language. Ella felt it before she heard it. The tone, faint, deep, vibrating her ribs. Her teeth ached, her vision blurred at the corners. Then came the whisper. "You brought the key. Who's there?" No one, but the room had changed. The walls darker, the crucifix inverted, symbols bleeding from the ceiling. The air was colder now, almost gelatinous. "This isn't audio, it's environmental, it's real time. I recorded this here, but when I played it back, it wasn't my voice anymore." Ella reached for the pause button, but her hand wouldn't move. Not her choice, not anymore. The tone changed pitch, warped upward. She dropped to her knees, screaming without sound. Everything melted, time, space, breath, and then silence, utter and absolute. Ella woke up on the floor of the chapel. The tape had run to the end. No blood, no burn marks, but something was missing. She opened her mouth to speak. Nothing came out. No voice, no whisper, just silence. "You have completed File 7. Please prepare for transmission." Chapter 8. Transmission Day. Ella's voice returned 12 hours later, but it wasn't the same. Her pitch was slightly lower. Her breath patterns no longer matched her body. She spoke in rhythmic cadence, like a metronome hidden in her lungs. She didn't notice at first, but others did. The cashier at the petrol station flinched when she said "thank you." A child stared at her in frozen silence. Dogs refused to come near her. Day, unknown. I've played 7 files. Each one is a lock, a boundary, a trigger. She was no longer documenting the phenomenon. She was becoming it. The burner phone buzzed again. A new message. It's time. Transmit it. You are the antenna now. What does that mean? She returned to her old studio. Everything was still there. The sound panels, the broken mic arm, the stained pop filter. She hadn't used this place in months. She set up a live stream, hardwired, unlisted. Set for midnight. Title, Transmission Day, 8 of 10. She placed the USB into the interface. Files 8, 9 and 10 were there now, fully loaded. She didn't remember downloading them. If you're hearing this, I need you to understand, this isn't a performance. It's a release. Case File 8. Subject, the black veil. You are the threshold, you are the wound. Through you we pass. The room dimmed. Power stayed on, but light bent around her. The waveform on screen pulsed in time with her heartbeat. Comments flooded the stream. What is this audio? I feel sick. My screen is glitching. My dog's barking at the wall. And then, one final comment. She's not Ella anymore. I am the key. We are the gate. You broke the silence. At exactly the 4, thousands of devices worldwide crashed. Phones froze. Speakers cracked. Smart TVs exploded in bursts of smoke. Those who listened heard a tone that never ended. Even after the stream ended. Even after they tore out their earbuds. Even after they screamed. Ella didn't move. She just stared into the camera and whispered, 2 more to go. Chapter 9, the 9th file. In the morning, no one could reach her. Ella's livestream had gone viral overnight. The clip of her whisper, 2 more to go, was reposted by news outlets, conspiracy channels, ARG forums. But when a BBC crew arrived at her flat, she wasn't there. The studio was empty. The equipment was melted. The only thing left was the USB, still plugged into a smoking interface. And written across the wall in black marker, one phrase, he's still in there. Ella walked the moor at dusk, alone. The burner phone hadn't buzzed since the stream. The archivist was silent. Jake wasn't answering. London felt like a ghost city now, like it had exhaled something dark and wasn't sure how to inhale again. She knew where the final 2 files would lead. She'd seen it in the sonogram, in the graveyard map. Every line pointed to one place. Vincent Harrow's last known location, the chapel ruins beneath Clerkenwell. She descended the stairwell slowly, flashlight in one hand, recorder in the other. Her voice was back to normal, but she hadn't spoken in days. She didn't trust it. The stairs gave way to stone and damp earth. At the base, a door. Rusty, wooden, open. Inside, a single object rested on a stone pedestal, a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Still turning, she pressed play. Case File 9. Subject, the seal. If you've made it this far, I can't stop you. But know this, it wasn't meant to be heard by one person. I recorded the ritual backwards. Layered, scrambled, so it couldn't reconstruct itself, but you've undone it. Ella turned in the dark. The symbols on the walls had begun to glow again. The sigils, the nun's eyes, all etched in ash. You brought the pattern full circle. 7 listeners, 7 broadcasters, 7 locks opened. I couldn't complete it, but you can. Or you can stop it. How? You silence yourself. It wasn't a metaphor. She was the transmitter now. And the final file, File 10, wasn't audio. It was her. Chapter 10, the final lock. Ella stood in the chapel beneath Clerkenwell, surrounded by carved warnings and unfinished prayers. She had reached the end, not of the path, of herself. The reel-to-reel crackled and stopped. The final seconds of File 9 faded into silence. Not digital silence, real silence, heavy, swollen, as if sound itself had evacuated the space. She placed her recorder on the altar. The red light blinked, waiting. The USB was gone, the phone dead, but File 10 had already begun, because Ella was the 10th file. She understood now. Each listener was a transmitter, each file a glyph burned into memory, each story a ritual reconstruction, and she'd completed all 10 steps. 1. Listen. 2. Investigate. 3. Broadcast. 4. Witness. 5. Suffer. 6. Vanish. 7. Resurface. 8. Transmit. 9. Descend. 10. Choose. You can end it. Will it stay buried? If no one hears you, yes. She looked at the recorder. The red light blinked. All she had to do was speak. Finish the transmission. The tone would activate. The gates would open. Whatever waited would step through her. Or she could turn it off. Never speak again. Let the ritual die incomplete. I'm not your lock. The glow faded from the sigils. The pulse vanished. The stone room fell still. For the first time in days, the silence wasn't threatening. It was peaceful. Ella stepped away from the altar, leaving the recorder behind. And for the first time, she smiled. But someone will listen eventually. Epilogue, playback. 2 weeks after Ella Finch vanished, a man named Marcus Lyle uploaded a new podcast episode titled The Silence Files, a deep dive into the Harrow hoax. It was supposed to be a satire, a takedown of internet hysteria, a mockery of the urban legend surrounding Vincent Harrow and the supposed cursed audiobooks. Marcus had never met Ella. He didn't believe in ghosts or witch trials or sonic rituals. He just liked clicks. The episode went live at 3:13 a.m. 12 minutes later, his audio feed cut to static. Viewers reported distorted playback, a tone underneath the voice track, a strange symbol that flashed once in the corner of the video, a circle intersected by 3 slashes. Most ignored it, a few reposted it. One listener, an audio engineer from Oslo, isolated the frequency and emailed the show. "I don't know what this is, but it's not just sound. I analyzed the waveform and there's a pattern. It looks like a face." The podcast is still online. No one's been able to take it down. Every attempt to delete it re-uploads the file elsewhere, under different names, different platforms. It always starts the same way. "This is my last entry. If you're hearing this, it's already too late." The end. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, ring the bell, and tell your friends about my listening library.